Hello and welcome to the Keep Your Cool Mama podcast, where we are encouraging the everyday mom to pursue her dreams and discover her own greatness. Hey cool mamas, this is Sheilah and you are listening to episode 17 of the Keep Your Cool Mama podcast. Hello, how are you guys? I hope you are well. Did you miss me? Because I missed you terribly. I missed talking on this microphone. I missed just sharing insight, sharing inspiration. But I'm back finally, and I'm excited to talk with you guys today. It's a new year. Happy 2021. 2020 was a doozy. 2021 is proving to be kind of a doozy already, but we're going to get through it just like we got through 2020. But I'm sure you have at least one goal that you want to accomplish this year. And what I want to remind you is how important it is to utilize your time wisely when you have goals that you want to accomplish for yourself and your family. Now, I know this because for so many years of my life, I struggled with time management. Once I understood how important and valuable it is to control my time and use it wisely, I was able to accomplish so much more than I was able to before I took the time to manage my time effectively. Now, most of us as moms give up on doing things for ourselves because the lack of time we have tricks us into believing there isn't enough time for our own wants, needs, dreams, and aspirations. And that's just simply not true. We just have to use our time wisely, use the time that we have, and just work through it. There is a way to do it, and I want to talk to you about that today. If you are one of those moms that believes that, I want to help you change your mindset towards time. So today, I would love to share a few good tips and tricks to managing your time. And I want to start with the first way of doing that is evaluating your life. Now, a few questions that you can ask yourself to begin evaluating your life when it comes to time management is, where does most of your stress reside? Where do you see most of your stress happening in your life? What's the one area of your life where you are constantly scrambling to find time for it? What's that one thing you just cannot seem to find time for that you want to do, but time is just so limited? What are you giving too much time to? I know there are some things that we're doing that is getting way too much of our time and taking us away from the things that we actually want to accomplish. What are you not giving enough time to? That ties into the last question of what you are giving too much time to. That could be, you cannot be giving enough time to something because you're giving too much time to that other thing. So let's figure out, what are you not giving enough time to that you would like to give more time to? Now, answering these types of questions will help you to determine where in your life time needs to be managed the most. Start with just one area to work on so that you won't become overwhelmed. Always evaluate first before you begin taking action. Because what happens is we take on all of these things that we want to change about ourselves, about our lives, and then it becomes overwhelming. It becomes to appear as though it just can't happen. It's just too much for me to handle right now. But the truth of the matter is, when we take and look at things one at a time, it gives us the opportunity to focus on one thing. And when you focus on that one thing, it spreads out to other areas in your life that you become better at managing your time at without you even realizing it. So start with that one thing. Do not overwhelm yourself with trying to fix everything in your life, and see how that turns out. See how you can use trial and error to work on managing your time in that one area so that the other areas of your life will be easier to manage going forward. Number two, minimize time sucking tasks and activities. Now, as a mom, you already have so many responsibilities to handle on a daily basis, right? I know I do. And that in itself can be overwhelming sometimes, if I'm honest. Now, you have to be careful about what you are giving your time and energy to. Most of us love to scroll through social media, which is a good example of something that can be a time sucker at times. But I think we can all agree that it can take up most of our time if we aren't careful, which makes it a time sucker, right? That's just one common time sucker that I can give to you guys out of the many. Because with social media, sometimes we need breaks. Sometimes we need to create a schedule on when we're going to be on social media. So take the time to figure out if that needs to be managed. That goes back to asking yourself, what are you giving too much time to? That's part of evaluating. Evaluate your relationship with something like social media. Does it need to be minimized? Do you need to cut it down? Do you need to use different resources and things like maybe on your iPhone where you can track the amount of time that you're using on social media every day on a weekly basis? Maybe you can, within that same resource, I know for Apple phones, iPhones, you can say how much time you're going to spend on each app so that you can give more time back to other areas of your life. And like I said, that's just one of the many. I know there are a few time suckers that I have to be mindful of myself that I've noticed over the years. And they're not things that you commonly look at as time suckers. But I realize that these things, these three things, take up so much of my time if I'm not careful. Those three things are making excuses, complaining, and procrastinating. My goodness. Making excuses about why you can't get something done that you would love to do. If you really love to do it, you'll make the time to do it. And quite frankly, making excuses takes time away from you figuring out a solution to make that happen. Complaining about the lack of time that you have. I'm a mom. I have so many things to do. My kids have this going on. I have this going on. Truth be told, complaining isn't going to help either. How can we move some things around to come up with a solution for that problem? Again, it wraps around to how can I create a solution for this problem? That is a good use of your time. Procrastinating. Oh my goodness. Now, while I have gotten better at not procrastinating, and I'm definitely not the procrastinator that I used to be, I do know that procrastination can take up so much of my time. And that goes back to time suckers. And sometimes we procrastinate by using social media. Sometimes we procrastinate by watching TV. Sometimes we procrastinate by doing things that weren't even on our list, but we decided I really don't have the bandwidth right now to complete what I need to do. So let me do something else in the meantime. But it helps to just push through, do the things that need to get done so that you can manage your time effectively and you can move on to the next thing. Number 3, learning to stop saying yes when you should have said no. Oh my goodness. Now, I know for a lot of us women, not just moms, we're constantly saying yes to things that we should have said no to because we want to be there for people. We want to do things for people that we love. And I know we want to be everything for everybody, but there's just honestly not enough time in the world for us to do it all. There's just not. And the sooner you're honest with yourself about that, the sooner you will do what it takes to make sure that you aren't overloading your schedule with things that you should not have said yes to. With that being said, be selective about the favors that you are doing and how you are volunteering your time. Does saying yes interfere with your life in any way? Does it take away from the time that you could have been spending doing a task that's been on your schedule for a month, and you added that one thing, that one favor that someone asked you to do, and now it pushes it back? Does it interfere with the time that you're spending with your family? Does it interfere with your rest? How does it interfere? And if it doesn't, then definitely yes, do it. But if it's interfering in a way that's going to affect you going forward, then that is an indication that you probably shouldn't say yes. Gracefully decline if you have to, and hopefully the person that is asking you will understand. You can't say yes all of the time. Sometimes you saying no is you saying yes to other areas in your life. It's saying yes to taking the time to do what needs to be done so that you can accomplish those goals that you want to accomplish. And it doesn't mean that you can't help that person going forward. It means that just today, I can't say yes. I still love you, but I can't say yes today. And while I understand that making exceptions here and there will happen, don't make it the norm. Because what happens is people will notice that you're always saying yes, and they're going to think about the fact, well, she seems to be okay with it, so let me ask her for something else last minute. And you don't want it to become something that just happens all the time, and you're not mindful of your own time. And the sooner you're mindful of your time, the sooner other people will be mindful of your time, and they will respect that I have to approach her at good times. Like, I have to give her timing. I can't just spring things on her. I have to ask her at the appropriate time, and understanding she just may say no this time because I know that she values her time. Treat your time like the precious jewel that it is. You can't duplicate it or ever get it back. So make wise decisions at all costs. Number 4, delegate. Delegating is a very important tool to use as a mom. Delegating is your best friend. Remember that. If you have children, younger children who can do a smaller task, older children who can do smaller tasks and bigger tasks, use their help. There is nowhere in any handbook, anywhere, any book that says you have to do it all because you're a mom and you're the best. No, you can do it all by delegating. And like I said, we can't do it all. Make sure your children have chores to help clean up around the house. Make sure that you know that if you need help with something, that you're asking people who are willing to give you help. It's okay to accept help. It's okay to admit there's way too much on my schedule, and in order to manage my time, it would be helpful for me to delegate these smaller or bigger tasks out. Do not be afraid to delegate. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It means that you were strong enough to admit that I need help. Number 5, prioritize. Put your task on a list. Decide what comes first, what comes last. Meaning, what is first on my schedule? What is on the calendar first? What needs to get done right away? What can be pushed back a day, a week, a month? Figure out what order things go in so that you aren't scrambling trying to get everything done at once. Because I know for me, I can trick myself into believing everything has to get done right now. There's no time. If I don't get it done, I can't rest. But I found that when I prioritize my task, that rests my mind. That gives my body rest. It helps me to put a place, put everything in its place, and know that the time will come when I need to complete that particular task. So prioritize your task. A good way of doing that, write things down. Use a good old pen and paper, pencil and paper, or use your notes in your phone, the notes section or app in your phone. Write those things down. Number 6, take advantage of time gaps. I have found that time gaps are golden for me. For instance, if I'm cooking and I know that there's something else that I could be doing while something is in the oven, instead of sitting down, I may go give my son a bath, or I may help my other son with his homework, or I may write notes for a podcast, this podcast or the other podcast that I have. I may read the book that I've been wanting to read, because an important thing to remember is that time gaps can be used for you to do things that you love. Are you saying that you don't have time to read a book, or to draw, or to listen to that new album you've been wanting to listen to, or whatever the case may be? Use the gaps in your time to get things done. And see, the trick is when you prioritize, you can figure out, where are my gaps? When will I have time to do something that I've been wanting to do, but I just haven't been able to fit it in? Because sometimes you'll put things on your schedule and you'll anticipate for it to take a little longer. And then you'll realize, I got finished a little early, so there's a little time for me to complete that one small thing that I can do. And I know for me, when I complete something and it is off of my mind, that gives my mind and my body the rest that I so desperately need, because I can stress constantly over things that shouldn't even be stressed over. But I do it. It's normal, right? It's not a good normal, but it's normal for me. But when I check those things off of my list, it helps me mentally. And then it lets me know that by writing things down, that it helped me to move forward. So use those time gaps wisely. And you may also use it to take a nap, get some rest. Maybe you got finished early and you're like, you know what? This is a good time for me to just lay down and rest my mind. Nothing wrong with that either. Use the time gaps to your advantage. And number 7, get your rest. I think sometimes we forget how important it is to get sleep on a regular basis, 6 to 7, maybe 8 to 10 hours of sleep. It's very hard to do what needs to get done when you are running on fumes. So take time to create a good bedtime regimen for yourself to help yourself relax. Rest your mind, lay down, think about your day, and just get rest. When you have dreams and goals that you want to accomplish, you need energy for that. So make sure that you just give your body the rest that it so desperately needs and most definitely deserves. I know one of the things that I love to do before I go to bed is turn on my diffuser, put my lavender oil in there. I have different sleepy time teas, restful teas that I use to just help my body to relax. I listen to rain sounds on my phone. I listen to the Abide app and listen to their bedtime stories, whatever I need to do to get to bed at a good time and to have a restful sleep. My mind is constantly going throughout the night, and I find when I don't use those things that help me, it's hard for me to rest. I have a weighted blanket that I so much love. It's like on the top of the list of things that I love most. And, I just help myself to just get the rest that I need because my mind is always racing and I need things to calm me down. They say reading books helps to calm your mind down before you go to bed. I always notice that when I read a book, as interested as I am and as much as I love reading, when it's time for me to get rest, generally I find that my body just relaxes and I end up falling asleep on the book. Not realizing that although my mind is working while trying to read, my body is also relaxing. It's like a signal to your brain that says it's time to relax, if you're in the right spot to do it. So definitely get your rest, ladies, and use whatever tactics you need to use to make sure that you get that rest. Go to bed on time. Going to bed after midnight and when you have to wake up at like 5, 6 in the morning, it's just not a good thing, no matter what age you are. I know the older that I have gotten, the more rest that I need. So definitely get your rest. Number 8, do what you say you are going to do. If you're going to make a schedule, abide to that schedule. So if you have something that is important to do on your schedule, and going back to not saying yes when you should have said no, if you say yes to something, that means that you're saying no to something else that was on your list that you already said yes to. And you want to remind yourself, I can get these things done. But you're not going to convince yourself that you can be good at time management if you aren't getting those things done. So pay attention to the promises that you aren't keeping for yourself. Keep them as often as you can. And I understand that sometimes things get thrown into your life that aren't necessarily planned, that you couldn't control. But if you can control it, control it. Controlling your time helps you to control your life. So when you say you're going to do something, make sure you do it as much as you can, as often as you can. Number 9, use automatic reminders. My calendar on my phone is everything to me. As much as I love planners, I love planners, and I have so many unused planners from previous years that I feel so bad for buying and not using. But once I got to know myself a little better, I realized that automatic reminders are what works for Sheilah. And the reason why they work for me is because it pops up when I forgot about it. You're a mom. You're going to forget about things. If you're that person who can remember everything that's on your schedule without being given a reminder, I think that is awesome. And I wish I was you. But for most of us, automatic reminders will put it back on your brain. So one of the tricks that I do that helps for me is as soon as I know that I need to put something on my schedule that's coming up, I do my best to bring out my phone, which is probably already in my hand, but I'll bring out my phone and I'll put it on my schedule because I will forget, most likely. If it's for my kids, most of the time I will not forget. But if it's for me, I tend to forget those things easier than anything else. But anything that's in my life, I put it as a reminder on my phone, on my calendar. And what I'll do is I'll tell my phone to give me a reminder a day before. Don't surprise me on the day of, because then it helps me to prepare mentally for things. I'm the person that needs to prepare mentally for everything. When things come up last minute, it frazzles me. And I don't want to be like this, ladies. I promise I do not. But it frazzles me when things come up that are unexpected. So I make sure that I tell my phone to remind me the day before, remind me an hour before, and remind me right when it's that time. And automatic reminders will give you, it's just a good resource to have when you're trying to manage your time. If you want to manage your time, write things down. If it works for you to write them down, write them down. But use automatic reminders in conjunction with that, because it's just helpful. It's always been helpful for me. It's something that I will never stop doing. Use automatic reminders. There are a plethora of different things that I can tell you guys about when it comes to time management. But for the sake of time, today I'm going to stop there. And I can definitely do a part 2 to time management if you found this helpful. If you did find it helpful, please do not hesitate to send me an email at keepyourcoolmama@gmail.com. And also send me an email to just say hi. I would really love to hear from you guys. I would love to hear how you feel about the previous episodes, how you feel about this episodes, any other topics that you would like to hear about as you try to pursue your dreams as a mom and work towards those goals that are important to you. I love to hear from you guys. And also, please rate and review. Please write a long review, short review, whatever. Give me 5 stars. And I just want to hear from my audience. I want to just know that you guys are loving the content. And again, the email address is keepyourcoolmama@gmail.com. And you can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at keepyourcoolmama. It's been a while since I've been on there. I took a short but long hiatus, but I'm definitely back and ready to just give you guys good content. I'm sending you good vibes, good energy, and I hope you're doing well. I hope your families are well, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Love you. Bye-bye. Before I let you go, seriously, before I let you go, please subscribe and leave a review with 5 stars if this podcast is inspiring you and helping you to grow. Let's spread the positivity so that we are visible to other mamas out there trying to find her own greatness. And if you need some advice or guidance regarding your own personal growth while tackling motherhood, please email me at keepyourcoolmama@gmail.com. Love you guys.